Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Johnson, and this is the Success Estate Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast today. I think we've got a great show in store for you. Today's topic is primarily going to be directed towards sellers. So if you're a buyer in this market and you want some good information, go check out the last episode. As a matter of fact, the last episode was entitled How You Can Be Successful in Getting Contracts in the Seller's Market. So a lot of great information for you there. Please go back and check it out. Share it with somebody if you know somebody that is wanting to try to buy a house in this market and maybe find it kind of difficult. There's some great tips there for those that are trying to buy a house in this market. Clearly, the market has not changed. We're still dealing with COVID, and it's starting to come around now. People are starting to get out and about. I think the fatigue had just weighed in so heavy on people. People are starting to get out and about. People are getting vaccinated. The country is opening up a little bit more, even though we're seeing different things. All of that, of course, is affecting the housing market. We've been in the seller's market for over the past year, primarily because there's just been a shortage of houses on the market. People couldn't move like they wanted to. So for whatever reason, and I talked about that 2 episodes ago, kind of the state of the market. Go back and check that out as well, and kind of how we got to the place where we are. Well, a lot of people are now starting to see that it would be really beneficial for them if they got on into the market as well. So their house, you may be considering whether or not to sell a property at this point. And I hope today that you will receive the information that'll be beneficial to you to be able to, if you do decide, if you're moving towards that direction of putting a house on the market. For one, I hope you'll give me a call to talk about it, but then also to this will give you some tips and tricks to be able to have a successful home sale in this market. Several things, and then we'll get into those points. Here's some things that I really want people to think about when they're selling a house. And I've had these discussions. I've seen some of these things. I've been working with a lot of buyers right now. Like I said, the sellers are just a little more spread out for me in this market. I do know a lot of people that are doing a great job right now listing houses. But from the buyer side, I can also see some issues that sellers are running into, and then also to some listings that I have of my own that could potentially have seen some issues. You know, we avoided some, and that's a blessing. So with that being said, again, this is a seller's market, and I tell everybody, if you're thinking about selling in this market, take advantage of the opportunity, not the market. Okay, so that's first and foremost. Just please don't try to take advantage of the market. People are, then the people really are. They're not seeing success in their home sales because they try to take advantage of the market, and people that are willing and pretty much anxious to buy. They are anxious. People are really desiring to get into the house, but it's really the good ones that are going really fast. So success is not a given. You could put your house on the market and you could flop in this market. I've seen several houses, you know, in all honesty, any house will sell at the right price. Any house will sell at the right price. And the big thing that I always have to remind sellers is that buyers determine the value of a home. It's not necessarily what you want for it. You know, I mean, you can ask whatever you want for it. I could ask you for $30 to watch this show. But if you don't, as a consumer, find it valuable enough to pay $30, you're not going to pay me. And I can't force you to either. Right. So a lot of people kind of run into that because they either are looking at bad information or talking to friends and family, and they're saying, hey, you should do this. You can get this. You can get this, without talking to a professional. And getting real concrete information to make a decision on, and they're shooting themselves in the foot because buyers will look at it and say, "Hey, this is not worth what you're asking for it." So people do want to buy, but they will only pay more for the good ones. The good ones doesn't mean that everything is all updated, right? It doesn't mean that everything is, like the Magnolia aesthetic, with shiplap and everything like you see on YouTube. People do like that, but not everybody likes that. So people do want to buy right now. So it is a great time to purchase. To sell. If you're looking to sell, this is still a really good time. But you also need to be strategic. Let me say it like that. You need to be strategic and you need to be wise. Here's some ways that I've found that sellers shoot themselves in the foot. Again, they try to take advantage of the market instead of taking advantage of the opportunity. What do you mean by that, Mike? Well, I'm glad you asked. No, but I'm not going to be answering myself questions like that. No, but people will come on and they'll see that people are putting their house on the market and not really assessing, not really being honest in their assessment of their own home, and they're just saying, "Hey, I want." $250,000 for this house, just to see, let's just see what's going to happen. See if somebody will bring that. That's trying to take advantage of the market instead of taking advantage of the opportunity by pricing competitively and let the buyers do all the driving up of the prices. And that's definitely happening. I can remember a house on a street in Pine Tree here in Longview last year. I think the home was originally asking $120,000. It was a nice sized lot. I remember walking into the kitchen. They had kind of done some DIY stuff to cut a space for the refrigerator. It was the wood paneling. The older wood paneling, not like the sheet paneling, but real wood. And they had some decent sized rooms, small closets. And they had an addition on the back that was kind of used for a man cave or something like that. A nice 2-car garage. The driveway was on the side. The garage was on the side, so you had to drive the driveway down the side and pull into the back. And again, a nice sized yard. Well, they put it up for I think it was 125. They put it up for 125,000. They got 13 offers and sold at $141,000. Now, I think if they would have initially asked for $141,000, they may not have gotten it. And I don't know. Maybe they would have still, but the buyers told them that this house was worth more than what you were originally asking, right? So that's letting the market, taking advantage of the opportunity by pricing it competitively and letting people drive it up themselves. Another way that people are shooting themselves in the foot as sellers is they're not prepping the home. I'm walking in some spaces where wallpaper is coming out. These are big houses in nice neighborhoods, but they didn't even take the time to have somebody come remove the wallpaper and just paint in the kitchen, or they're not cleaning the homes. They're just saying, here, just put it on the market. Put it on the market and see what happens. It's such a frenzy out here. That's not that doesn't mean that these houses still aren't selling, but also too, you're losing out on the opportunity for more money because you didn't prep, right? So they're not prepping the homes. That's outside and inside. We'll talk about those things in a few when I give some pointers. And then they're asking too much. Some people are coming on and they're asking, $10,000 to $15,000 over what's normally selling in their area. Right? So they're just trying to see what all they can get. And people are walking in the space because these are also people that haven't prepped. They're also people that haven't done anything to make the buyer feel more confident in their purchase. And they just put it on the market and saying, here, this is what I want for it. And I remember walking into one that posted last month, and I walked in and I was disgusted that I brought this young lady over to this young buyer. Let me say it like that. This young buyer over to look at the house. I was just disgusted. Why am I here? Why do I have these people here? This house is terrible. We're wasting our time because you're asking too much and you didn't prepare the home, right? That, and then also too, now for sale by owner, people I see are sometimes shooting themselves in the foot as well because, in a sense, they're asking for a certain amount of money, and then they're not making it exposed to the entire market. So you'll see some signs up in the yards. People are not wanting to pay an agent. They want to get as much as they can for it, which that's your right. I don't fault people for doing that. I don't think that it's the best choice, but if you do, hey, that's your prerogative. What I don't like is it's not that I don't like it. What I'm disappointed, in sellers is when they They just stick a sign in the yard. They don't take any pictures. They don't post it anywhere. And they want the most money for people that are just driving by. And it's just really hard to do unless you're in on a street like Judson Road here in Longview, or like 259 or 59 in Marshall, where the most traffic is coming down, maybe 31 and Kilgore or something like that, where people are just passing all the time, and the word can spread on its own. But sometimes the houses are like tucked away in neighborhoods, and then they'll be asking for a bunch of money, but nobody knows that it's for sale. So, if people are coming and if I'm the only one bringing you an offer, I know that I have opportunity to negotiate, right? If I'm the only one, I at least have the opportunity. When there's multiple buyers, right now people are saying, hey, bring your highest and best, and we're going to make a decision from there. So that's another way that sellers are shooting themselves in the foot. They're doing for sale by owner and no exposure. So with that, I want to go ahead and jump into some points and some things that I think that you should do if you are wanting to sell your house, and how you can be successful in this market. Not just to take advantage of the market, but take advantage of the opportunity that it presents. I did have somebody called I talked to yesterday. They're moving here from out of town, in a state or two over, and they were talking about their house sale. They had already been planning to sell and move this way to the great state of Texas. All of you that are moving this way, welcome. You finally made it. But they said, hey, we weren't even trying, but we thought we would make, $30,000 off of the sale of our house. And we've almost tripled that. And my mind was like, whoa, and I congratulated them. And they said, hey, we weren't trying. It's just what happened, and sometimes when you do things the right way, you end up getting the best results instead of just trying to get the best results and take a shortcut to it. I'm a sports guy, so that rings true in so many different areas for me. And I hope that you would take that to heart if you are listening. So when I'm educating people and I'm talking to them about selling the house, here are a couple things that I say are extremely important. For one is to prepare, right? Prepare. It's the same as buyers. People spend money when they are confident and comfortable, right? They're confident in what they're getting and when they're comfortable with what they're buying. People will be more apt to spend more money when they feel like they're getting a good product and they're not getting shifted in any kind of way. So with that being said, get a comparative market analysis. You can just start there. Get some research done for you. Just about any agent, I don't know of any agent that charges for a comparative market analysis. Right, so you can get that for free. Say, hey, what's going on in my neighborhood? What's going on around me? What are houses selling for that are similar to mine? Here are some basic details, and just see and compare. Get a payoff statement from your lender. See how much you could possibly walk away from a house sale with. That's a super easy place to start, and it gives you so much information. The reason why this is important, is because you can't see what houses are selling for around you. There are other states that disclose that information. Texas is a non-disclosure state, so it gives the agents it gives the agents more value, right? When you have to come to me to find out what houses are selling for around you, then that gives me more value. Praise God for that. But it's free, and it's so valuable for you in order to determine a competitive price to put your house on the market for and to ask for. Another thing in preparation, fix minor things in the home. If you've got peeling paint or something, paint that joker. Like, just paint it up, get somebody to come out there, scrape the paint off, paint it. You open yourself up to more buyers, right? When you don't just have to go cash or conventional, you also have FHA. You never know who's going to want to come and bring you the most money. So make all those options available for you. If you've got small little projects in the house, you'd be surprised. Changing out a vanity or putting some lights, some different kind of lights, some LED lights, and brightening up the space. You'd be surprised how much of a difference that makes to buyers. Those kind of things just speak that the house is taken care of and that they won't have to worry about fixing your mistakes later on down the line. Another thing is to clean. I would have somebody professionally clean my house. If I was selling my house, I would have somebody professionally clean it. And then I would turn around and I would try to make it smell like heaven in the house, right? When they walked in, I just wanted them to almost just feel like, they're floating through there. Not because, well, no, I guess you don't want them to feel like they're floating through there, but you want it to smell so great, that they just feel invited. They feel at home. Right? And something that they could do and recreate. When you walk into a good smelling house, you feel like the people cared about the house that you're buying it from, and it makes you feel more comfortable. When the house is clean, there's no clutter, there's no things everywhere. The baseboards are don't have dust on them. The kitchen is clean. All these things are in order. It just makes buyers feel like, hey, this house has been taken care of. I can spend more money for it, and it's not going to be money that I'm going to have to spend later on in order to fix or repair or to get in a working order that I like as a buyer. Another thing in preparation, get professional pictures, right? Don't do any more to tell. Yes, you can save a few dollars, but you also could lose a few dollars, right? A few more dollars. When people can see on the internet, that's where 90% of people doing their shopping is online. They go, they look at the pictures. If they fall in love with the picture, when they come into the space and it matches what they see, oh my gosh. But what happens with like cell phone camera pictures, I can't get as wide of an angle of a shot. So there's things that you won't be able to see in the house, So now, and this is how I judge houses with how I have my buyers judge houses. After we go through them, I base it on the expectation that you had when you saw this house online, right? When you said, hey, I really want to see this house. In comparison to your expectations, what number would you give this? And a lot of times people are saying, man, I really had high hopes for this, but now it's down low because I just really didn't, it's not what I expected it to be. Well, what happens when you're really honest about the space? You get good pictures and people can see the whole space, even if there are a few flaws and things like that. At least when they get there, the expectations are there. They already know kind of what they are walking into. And if they liked it on the pictures and they feel comfortable there, when they get in the house, they're sliding the offer your way. And then lastly, another way that you can prepare is with disclosures and updates, right? Put a lot of information in front of buyers, right? Any updates you've done, utility history, all your disclosures. Give good info about the house, the things that you like about the house, you love about the house, things that are important for a buyer to know. Give that information up front, because what it does, it allows a buyer to really assess, hey, for one, listen, buying is, you have to put yourself back in the buyer's shoes. Buying, using this much amount of money, it's a difficult decision. But when I'm able to see, oh, these are what my bills will look like every month. These are, this is some things that have already been taken care of in the house, have already been fixed, repaired, it's been updated. Now I can say, okay, this is money that I don't have to spend. I don't necessarily have to budget for immediately. I can go ahead and spend more money now purchasing the house. So those kind of things just allow you to ask for more money, and then also to give the buyers more confidence to give more money, even more so than you may be asking, which a lot of people are seeing right now. The most immaculate houses that I see, they in that, especially between $100,000 to $225,000. If it's really well taken care of, people are coming and saying, what's that meme? Shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my money. You can have it. Just give me the space. Get out as quickly as possible. We want to get in as quickly as possible. This is buying season too. So all this stuff, the quicker you prepare, now don't be in a hurry, just slap things together. The quicker you prepare, the more likely you are to see more dollars on your sale. Another thing that you can do, not only prepare, the second thing that you can do is hire an agent. Right? Now, I'm not just speaking about me. I know that there are tons and tons of agents out there. A lot of people know an agent. There are a lot of agents here in the Longview area. But hire one. Interview a few, hire one. That would be my suggestion. Interview a few, hire one. Why? Because it's less work for you. right? It's less work for you when you don't have to prepare all the things, when you get a roadmap to success from your listing agent. It gives you time back, which is more money in your pocket, right? Time and money, those things work hand in hand. When you're spending more time, working to get the house prepared or trying to understand the contract or do all these things, now you're having to take away either from your family or from your work or other goals in order to get this done. And you may not be making that much money to offset that. So it's less work for you, and it's more protection for you as well, right? You want to have somebody else holding the bag. In risk management, this is passing on some responsibility to the buyers. You hold some. I mean, not to the buyer, to the seller's agent, your agent. There we have what's called errors and omissions insurance. We have different things that are put in place that give us. We take on a lot of responsibility for the sale of this home, and also and it alleviates you from having some of those responsibilities and some of those liabilities as well. Another thing, when hiring an agent, more exposure, which leads to more competition. I was fortunate, I think, also too, to have this one young lady. She's buying a house right now. It's a for sale by owner. Not too many people knew about it. It's kind of tucked off, and I just so happened to see the sign, and I stopped by and I saw the house. I called on it, saw the house before people really started catching wind of it. We had already gotten the house under contract, and it turns out that the sellers left a little bit of money on the table. And I have to think that the reason why is because not enough people knew about the house. If more people knew about the house, right now, because it was completely fixed up, very large yard, people are just bringing money on top of money on top of money, trying to beat out the next person. As a buyer, you don't know exactly what the highest offer is. So it's not like sitting at an auction, and you're just every time just driving it up. You kind of having to guess, hey, okay, well, people have been going $10,000 over right now. You may need to go $12,000 over. Things like that are happening all the time. But if more people, the reason why the market is so important is because all the houses and all the buyers and all the sellers are in one place, and then we can drive up competition for it. Another thing is to learn the process and discuss what you can or can't do, right? The listing agent is going to give you some guidance on that, and that's going to be super important in you making a decision that's going to be important. I mean, it's going to be affecting you down the line here. Another thing is to talk about what's most important to you in the sale. Right, so it may not just be the price. It may be also you may be trying to get to a new place. So if you're trying to buy a new home right now, contingencies are not cutting it. It's bad. And FHA loans are not doing well right now. Conventional loans are kind of like sitting in second place, and then cash is king. You come in with a contingency, trying to beat those things out where you also have to get your house sold in order to walk into this one. Man, it's just really tough right now. You may have to really sacrifice on the house that you could purchase because the seller's market is not allowing time for that. It's not allowing time for your house to sell and then, come back. And hopefully it sells. Things happen all the time. People understand that. Hopefully it sells, and then you're going to buy mine. Well, I'm missing out on buyers. I'm missing out on all kind of people. Right. So you got to talk about what's important, because there are some things that you can do, maybe not to do a contingency, but to help you get into another house and get your house sold. Right. That will be very beneficial to you. So talk to your agent about what's important. If you need to close quickly, if you need to close in a couple of months, it may not be the most money that you receive. It's the person that can bring you a competitive offer and meet your closing date, which may be a couple months down the line. All these things, talk about what's important to you, and your agent can help you in putting a plan together. And then lastly, a little bonus in this section, I guess this should probably go back to the prepare section, but plan to leave your house for a few days, right? Just plan to leave your house for a few days in preparation. If you got a really nice house, just go ahead and say 2 or 3 days, we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna list it for sale, and we'll talk about when we get back. A lot of times people are getting great offers, but they're getting a ton of showings, right? My another point that I give, so my third one is be reasonable, right? Don't be greedy. Please don't be greedy and try to take advantage of the market. That's one thing. I don't tell my buyers, hey, you need to do this, don't do this. But when I start seeing people be greedy, I'm like, hey, you need to be careful here, right? Because this person is wanting everything and not willing to give anything, right? That puts me on reserve. It gives me caution, and I communicate that to the buyers, not so that they will go away from the house. If they still want the house, that's fine, but they need to be aware of some of the expectations of the seller. If they decide, hey, we're gonna move on and still look at this house, we're still gonna put an offer on it, I'm gonna support them. Right? It's not my job to tell them whether they should and should buy. It's, to give them information to empower them, and I'm gonna give them the information like, hey, this person is asking for the farm and only wanting to give up a cow. That's just not it may not be a great trade for you or your money. And one of the reasons why you don't want to be greedy, let's say you ask for a lot and only want to give a little bit. When that time comes, if you don't want to make any repairs, you don't want to give any concessions, you want it all. As a seller, you feel like you basically want to be pampered. Give me everything that I want. You want to be spoiled. Well, that's going to turn around to bite you. That could turn around to bite you. Not as going. It could turn around to bite you. If you can't come to terms with the first buyer that you accept, it comes back on the market. Every time your house hits the market, again, after it's been on sale, people are getting question marks popping up. Why is this house back? For one, the buyers that you had there initially that were bringing all the competition, they could be gone. They could have found another house. A lot of people are not waiting around for your house to come back on the market. And then also too, when it does, also the people that are still interested and are still available, they ask what's wrong with it. And a lot of times you can't get that question answered. The seller's agent may say, oh, it was the buyer's fault. The buyer couldn't get the financing, things like that. And sometimes in my head, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I see what you're asking for here. You may have passed up on my offer, which is a really, really generous offer before. It kind of seems like you may want the farm and want to trade a cow. That just doesn't seem right to me. Every time your house hits the market, you potentially start losing money. You may have to start making more concessions. That's money out of your pocket, right, in order to quell some people's fears about the house. So that's a big thing. Be reasonable. Talk to your agent about what you can and what you can't do. If you can't do any repairs, let the people know up front. This house is as is. I cannot do any repairs. This is all the money that I have. Unfortunately, I won't be able to pay for any repairs. As long as people know that up front, that makes it easier for them to make a decision. You may not get all the money you want, you want it, or they may bring you all the money and say, hey, don't worry about it. Just step out of the way. You get out of the house, we'll take it and do whatever we want to the house. We'll fix it up if it needs to be fixed up, right? People are willing to do that. People are willing to pay to do that. They're saving money on their monthly rates. It's costing less than rental spaces. So people want to have a home and want to call it home. They want to love this home. They'll do what it takes in order to make it that way, but you can't trick them into that. So you got to be reasonable. And then lastly is be quick but not in a hurry. I stopped by a guy's house that he bought it. I saw when he started fixing it up, and I stopped and talked to him a little over a year ago, and I was telling him, I said, hey, man, this is a great market. This is a seller's market. It's a great market, but don't hurry through your process. He was still fixing up the house. I said, don't hurry through the process. Just be quick. Get your things in order. This is my goal date to put it on the market. I got to have these things done. If you do get those things done, great, put it on the market. Brian Tracy said there's no such thing as unreasonable goals, just unreasonable timelines, right? So you could say, hey, I want to be out of this house next month, but you've done no prep work. You got to prep it. You got to do all those things. It's not that you can't be out of the house next month. It's that you haven't done the things that it takes to expect that timeline. So please, 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 be quick, but don't be in a hurry. Don't miss out on this opportunity. If you got another place to go and you can put a vacant house on the market, do that. And it's in good condition. If you need to make some minor repairs, do that. You will probably see that house, that money made up for in this market. Those are my 4 tips there, to prepare, to hire an agent, to be reasonable, and to be quick, but not in a hurry. Right? I think those 4 things, if you utilize those 4 things and the points in between those, you have a great shot at being successful in selling your estate. I do think that the market will stay high like this for a while. My prediction, and I don't know anything for certain, of course, but my prediction is that we're going to see prices like this all the way through the summer. People starting to get out and about and move around more. We're going to see all that throughout the summer. And then maybe those interest rates will probably start going up whenever whenever it's noticed that the economy is doing better. The Fed won't need to spur it along. They'll start bringing those rates up some. The amount that people can borrow will come down, right? So there won't be as much of a frenzy for some of the houses at the top. They'll be looking at the houses down in the middle. That'll start bringing some of those down. And then some people may say, hey, this is not as good of a time as I thought it was going to be to buy a house. And so they may move along. And so you'll see a few less buyers, I think, at the end of the summer. And that may start to bring things down to some sort of normalcy, or what was priorly known as normal, right? That's just my prediction. We'll see how it plays out. You heard it first here. If it turns out that way, I'm going to congratulate myself. No, I'm just playing. No, but it's just my thoughts and something to look forward to. We'll see how the next 3 or 4 months turn out. Thank y'all so much. That's all that I've got today. Thank you so much for checking out this show. Thank you for all those people that are listening. I greatly appreciate every listen that we get. I really hope you will share this with somebody that could benefit from the information. I tell everybody the same thing, right? I don't sell housing anymore. All I do is provide the information to empower your decision. I want you to be successful in your estate, whether you're buying, selling, investing, and especially those that are owning, right? I want you to be successful in your estate. This is what this information is for. If you have any questions, please give me a call, 903-806-6905. And if you have, if you need to talk or schedule a meeting, you can send me an email at thejohnsonwayrealty@gmail.com, right? Subscribe. Please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to this. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're on Spotify, you can subscribe to it. There are several different podcasting platforms that this is being played on. Please save this, share it with somebody, download it so that you can listen to it in your car on the way to work. And then also to share it with somebody. Like it and share it. If you leave a comment, I would greatly appreciate a comment of a question or things that you would like, topics that you would like to hear covered. I would gladly do that for you, okay? So with that being said, y'all, I'm out of here. Tune in next week. I hope to have a guest in. We were supposed to have a guest in today. My 2-year-old had his tonsils removed. Y'all, we've been hanging in there. My eyes are a little bit low today because I'm just sleepy. But hey, that's all part of it, and we're moving on forward. So next week we should have a guest in, and I think you're really going to love it. If you're a buyer and you're looking for alternate ways to buy in this market, I think you're going to love this. So tune in next week. My name is Mike Johnson. I'm your host, and this is the Success Estate Podcast. Thank you very much, and you have a blessed day.